Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. I want to welcome you to our committee meeting, our committee hearing, joined today by my dear friend and colleague, Marquise Harris-Dawson. Mr. Clerk, what do we have going today?
Good morning, sir. We have 2 items on the agenda. Would you like me to read both of those items?
Why don't you do that, and I think we'll jump into public comment. How's that?
Okay. Item number 1 are communications from the city attorney, city clerk, relative to a certification of sufficiency of ordinance, initiative petition, resolutions, and ordinances, relative to a certified initiative petition proposing cannabis activity permits and regulations, and authorization of a new tax. Item number 2 is motion Wesson Koritz Martinez et al. And City Administrative Officer and Chief Legislative Analyst joint report relative to Proposition D, medical cannabis dispensaries and adult use of cannabis act.
All right. So I have several cards. So what I think I want to do, anyway, I want to welcome everybody this morning. Going to combine the cards and just call up folk and have them make their comment. So let's start with Carlos de la Torre, Javier, I think it's Morales, Joe Silverstein, come forward, Yolanda Aldaz. Just identify yourself and go ahead, and good morning again.
Good morning. My name is Carlos de la Torre. I am the owner and executive director of Cornerstone Research Collective in Eagle Rock, California, and also a executive board member of the UCBA. I've been coming here for 10 years in an effort to work with the city to help create a permitting system, a comprehensive and regulated cannabis industry here for the city of Los Angeles, like many of us in this room. Prop D was a broken system. We all realize that now. And as a member of the UCBA, we saw that. So we created an initiative, we wrote an initiative that allows the city to create permits for the people that have been working in this industry for this long. It also is an open-ended permitting system, contrary to what a lot of people have been saying, that it is exclusionary or monopolistic, or it doesn't allow for people of color to be in the industry. It's just not the case. It's simply not true. We wrote this with the intention to help you guys create a system to allow for all of us to work within this system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's a bunch of us. That's why you only have a minute, so try to stay within that time frame. I want to remind everybody or alert everybody that we're going to be having additional hearings, and I just want to read off some of the hearings that we're going to be having in the evening. On November 2nd, that's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center that's located in my district. On November 29th at 6 p.m., we'll be here in City Hall. And on Wednesday, December 7th at 6 p.m., we'll be in Van Nuys City Hall. So you may want to jot that down. We'll be there 6 p.m. We want to give folk an opportunity to come, those that work during the day. So, sir, identify yourself, and you got a minute.
Good morning, Honorable Council. My name is Javier Montes, and I am an owner-operator of Delta 9 THC, and I am also an executive board member of the UCBA Trade Organization. When we started working on our draft ordinance, we saw state legislation coming through that allowed permits for cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution. We wrote an ordinance that would be open-ended and would allow permits for all the categories moving forward. We wanted to take the best of Prop D and include it into our ordinance and work with the city on the future of this industry. As you all are aware, this is a new industry to all of us, but we've been here for 9 years. So we also wrote in a grandfathering for 135 of us, which people voted in for and created the first Prop D. So what we're asking for is for support on a Prop D2, which would allow us to continue to move forward and also open up to other manufacturers and distribution and anything that aligns with state accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Good morning. I'm João Silverstein, Director of Strain Balboa Caregivers and a board member of UCBA. I'd like to address particularly the exclusionary inferences that are attached to this initiative. The first being the designation of 135 dispensaries. That was something that the city has made clear to us over the course of many years was what they were willing to work with as far as how many dispensaries were in the city. I'd like to reiterate what my colleagues had said, that there is no limitation. If the city decides that they want to expand that, that would be to the discretion of the city. But we basically tried to work with what you wanted the community to do. And I'd like that to be taken into consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So are you Yolanda? Yes. Okay, then I think it's Colin Stewart, Lisa, maybe Salan, I'm not sure, and a Sarah Armstrong. Good morning.
Good morning, council members. My name is Yolanda Aldaz. I'm the community outreach representative for DC Collective. We've been in business since 2007, and also board members of UCBA. We were able to gather over 104,000 signatures in a matter of 6 weeks, which goes to prove that we do have the support of Angelinos who believe that there should be a well-regulated, flexible ordinance that will allow more business in the city of Los Angeles. All we are asking as a UCBA is to be able to get our licenses in a priority manner, because we have been doing business the right way since 2007 when we were given that permission by the city. We do have that support. We have so many families that benefit as employment from our collectives. We do ask that you look further into this and that we do have a fair ordinance to be able to have more jobs and more flexibility in this industry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please come forward, identify yourself.
Good morning, Council. My name is Colin Stewart. I'm the General Manager of the Higher Path. We're a legal pre-ICO business operating out of Sherman Oaks. The Higher Path has adhered to the LA regulatory framework at all stages and one of the highest tax-paying dispensaries in Los Angeles, and a founding member of the UCBA Trade Association of pre-ICO legal cannabis businesses. Our ordinance, the LA Marijuana Regulation and Safety Measure, co-authored with the UFCW, qualified for the March ballot. In gathering over 104,000 signatures in 6 weeks, it's highly indicative of the overwhelming support for legal, regulated, tax-paying pre-ICO cannabis businesses by the people in the city of Los Angeles. Our ordinance closely mirrors the will of the city and is inclusive and fair, allowing for additional cannabis permits as needed past the existing 134 pre-ICO. Pre-ICO cannabis businesses that have followed the law, the will of the city, and the will of the people for over 10 years should be prioritized in the new LA permitting process. We are confident that this new ordinance will prioritize our existing legally operating businesses. Thank you so much.
Hey, Colin, Colin, right?
Yes.
You were reading that from your phone?
Yes.
Okay, so that print is really, really small, okay? I have to read from something this big, so I just wanted to say I don't like you because you have good eyes. I don't, so show off. Hi, identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Lisa Seelan, and I am General Counsel for UCBA Trade Association. In 2015, almost a year ago, Governor Brown signed into one of the most comprehensive regulatory schemes for medical marijuana in the state of California. In November, we are going to be seeing the vote of AMA, the Adult Use Medical Act. What our goal is to have the city of Los Angeles bring themselves in line with the state of California, and Proposition D does not do that. However, Proposition D has always favored a group of people that have been in business since prior to September 14, 2007. And all we want from this particular ordinance is for the city to create a floor, not a ceiling, of dispensaries in the city, and then to open it up to all of the different types of cannabis businesses, including cultivation, distribution, testing, manufacturing. Thank you very much for considering our ordinance.
Thank you. So you must be Miss Armstrong.
Yes, sir, I am. Good morning. I'm Sarah Armstrong, Director of Industry Affairs for Americans for Safe Access, and in partnership with all of the good people you see today in the blue T-shirts, I ask you from the bottom of my heart not to be held hostage to economic extortion. You are our elected officials. We want you to work with us to make decisions, not let it be the exclusive decision of a small group of people. You have worked with us for over 6 months now to try and craft a good ordinance, an inclusive ordinance, and we thank you for that. Today, you may not have a choice. You may have to put it on the ballot, but know that everybody in a blue T-shirt in this room and many others, including union and activists, stand with you to craft a good, fair ordinance that is the will of the people, not the will of just a few people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see you brought a few of your friends with you, not just a couple. Okay, so here, let's try Jay Moon and Ruben. Is it Ruben Honig? Why don't you come up? Tomar, I can't make this last one out, Andrew. I may need some help here. Well, then, if you know who I'm talking, come on up. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Jay Moon, and I represent Village Flora Collective. We have been in business for 5 years. We specialize in making cannabis oil for people with cancer and seizures. And I am here today, I'm with Sarah actually, to ask the council to adopt an ordinance that is inclusive. We want to be regulated. We want to pay our fair share of taxes. We want to permit so that we have clear legal standing within our community. There are many legitimate operators that are caught in a gray area today, and we ask that you draft an ordinance that is inclusive, that allows us a seat at the table, that allows us to pay our taxes and follow regulation that makes sense for everybody, not just a few. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please come forward, identify yourself.
Good morning, Council President. My name is Ruben Honig. I am the Assistant Chair of the LA Cannabis Task Force. Thank you for holding this meeting, and thank you for setting up all the other public hearings so that we all may speak and we all may have our voices heard. I am here in solidarity and in support of the city creating an inclusive and fair ordinance. You have, the energy. When I moved here 2 years ago as a patient, and I told you last time I spoke, I came here, and medical cannabis is the reason why I'm able to be here, and I'm able to speak on behalf of patients.
I do remember you.
And stakeholders in the industry. But, all I heard when I moved here is that LA is broken, everything is broken, it's chaos, the cannabis industry is a mess. I was also a small manufacturer, a small business owner. I want businesses of all sizes to be able to operate in this city. I want a cottage industry and an industry that is based upon these people sitting around here in these chambers to all operate. I understand that, there are issues with different kinds of groups, but ultimately, we just want a fair and inclusive ordinance in the city for the medical cannabis and for recreational, if that were to occur.
Okay, man, thank you. Okay. All right, lay this last name on me.
Hi, Torre Graciani.
I might have got that one. Go ahead.
I am with the LA Cannabis Task Force, and I'm a manufacturer here in LA. I first like to address the limit, the 135 that everybody's talking about, that the city and it's the will of the people. I think that was right when an industry that was not regulated either medicinally or recreationally happened. That may have been the case, but I think we're facing something new now, an actually regulated industry. I read the report of the social injustice, and I find that very encouraging. And what I would like to see is also raising the number of dispensaries, is actually changing the idea of what a dispensary is and thinking of a dispensary as a shop that sells pet medicated products or just balms and topicals, or in my case, a shop that would just sell chocolates, medicated chocolates, but nothing related to flour or anything like that, that would just be much easier for someone that does not have a lot of money or in a lower social economical status to start.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm looking for, I think it's Ed Rendon, Barry, last, is it Brond, Kat Packer, Hal Lewis. Please come forward, identify yourself. Go ahead.
My name is Ed Rendon. I'm the Director of Public Affairs for Teamsters Joint Council 42. We represent 150,000 Teamster members. Teamsters oppose the UCBA proposal since it is simply in conflict with state laws that permits vertical integration. Current state law bans vertical integration. We support repealing Measure D and returning authority to the city in order to regulate the cannabis industry through a competing measure on the ballot. Thousands of our members are employed in the warehouse and distribution industry. In fact, one of our largest employee groups out of our 1.5 million members nationwide. The UCBA proposal negatively impacts our core members in these industries who would be unable to enter the Los Angeles market under its provisions. Finally, we support a coalition of industry leaders from the delivery and dispensary side who are all placed at a competitive disadvantage under the UCBA proposal. Presently, the UCBA proposal only grants power to a very select few, leaving out dozens, if not hundreds, of companies that should be part of this emerging industry. We ask you for your support of competing measure.
Thank you. Hey, and before you start the next guy's time, I haven't seen you for 13 years.
That's correct,
okay,
sir.
And I remember I used to have difficulty when I was in the assembly pronouncing his name, and I still have that. But you primarily look the same. It's good to see you. Now we can go back to business. Good to see you, Barry.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm Barry Broad. I'm the statewide legislative director for the Teamsters Union. And we worked very hard on the state law. This UCBA proposal is fundamentally in conflict with the state law. In a number of respects, but most importantly by removing authority that local government is supposed to have under the state law, and secondly by enshrining a system of vertical integration that is prohibited by the state law. And the coalition that supported that at the state level included law enforcement, local government, organized labor, much of the marijuana industry itself. And so we support the alternative proposal that we have seen. It's fully consistent with the state law, and it returns appropriate regulatory power to the City Council. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Identify yourself.
Good morning. My name is Hal Lewis, and I stand before you today thanking you for looking at a fair and equitable way that we can help the patients of Los Angeles and help the people of Los Angeles in this cannabis industry. I am part of a nonprofit cooperative that is a closed loop and set up per state guidelines. We have between 15 and 25 members a month that we work with, mostly retirees in the motion picture industry, also retired judge and a retired senator. We work with people with major illness and pain, and also we work with people that are at the end of stage of life. We wish to make their transition peaceful. We have seen many people over the years at the end of their life, and the cannabis does help in many ways. All our members see a nurse practitioner before becoming a member and are taught the proper way to use cannabis. Our cooperative works mostly with topicals, tinctures, and suppositories. I just want to thank the City Council for looking at this for all of us to be able to help our patients. It's very hard for them out there, and thank you.
Thank you for coming in. So did I miss Kat Packer, Martin Pitts, Gina Khan, or Chan? Paul Uvanil? Yes, please. Identify yourself.
Hi, I am Martin Pitts. I am a former owner of businesses that I've started, small businesses, production television businesses in California and in LA. And I want to say that I oppose the UCBA proposal because it's selective and I'm for openness. So I am for the coalition. Sir?
Hey, trust me, I can do 4 things at the same time.
Okay, I know you're doing 4 or 5 things at once.
I'm used to it. Go ahead. I'm listening
But
to
I
you
wanted to say
from
that
this
I'm in
here and him from that.
I am in support of the Southern California Coalition, and because of the openness is what I want for businesses, small businesses.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Gina Khan from Pain Free Society of California. Wasn't there somebody else before me?
You just go ahead.
I came here today because I feel like I'm in a big gray area that I have been paying taxes to the city of Los Angeles since 2007 as a delivery service that converted to a brick and mortar in 2010 for safety. And I'm for the proposal because I think city of Los Angeles should, being a native Los Angelino, this is my 15th business license with the city of Los Angeles. I think everyone should pay taxes so you don't have to tax anybody else any extra. This initiative that's on the table right now from the City Council is a great initiative because it allows for enough taxes to be collected for our homeless and our education and our roads, and I'm for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm assuming you're Paul.
Yes,
so I have a Bobby. Is it Vecchio? Will be next. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Listen. You know, I don't hate the UCBA. If I had a monopoly, I'd be trying to keep it too. I've been in business since 2012, been paying my taxes, I've been audited, I passed. I didn't sign your affidavit because I didn't think it was proper. I'm in court with Asha Greenberg right now. You know, some of us have done what we're supposed to do and have been caught up in this system. We just seek to have a fair, level playing field. Let's allow the greatest amount of taxpayers to participate. Maybe we will be able to tackle some of the big issues like our last speaker spoke of. And I want to thank you for opening this process up. You know, we felt, you know, disenfranchised by local government a little bit, and I want to thank you for your time and efforts.
Thank you. Come on down.
Hello, hello. It's pronounced Vecchio. Actually.
Vecchio. All right.
Thank you. So I'm speaking today as a representative of the delivery contingent of the Southern California Coalition. I'm a medical cannabis patient, a business owner, and a resident who would like to see our city become the world's preeminent center for cannabis. We have an immense amount of talent in this room. Unfortunately, much of it is forced underground by restrictive policy. So today I'm speaking out against the UCBA initiative. I think it's another step down instead of a step towards bringing everyone into the industry who's been operating in good faith and trying to comply with all regulation. So it's my statement today that I think it's time that LA steps up and into the potential that we have and makes LA something great in the cannabis industry. And last but not least, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. David Sparrow, Eric Holstrom, Virgil Grant, Donnie Anderson. Let's just come on. If whoever gets there first can speak. Let's save every second. I want to hear from you all. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for your time, and I, too, need big print.
I like you already.
Just saying. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I represent...
And you are?
I am David Sparrow.
Okay,
I apologize.
David.
I represent the Manufacturers Alliance. We are a part of the Southern California Coalition. We represent thousands and thousands of high-paying jobs in the city of Los Angeles. And we are against the UCBA initiative because of its vertical integration and lack of inclusion of businesses other than the pre-ICOs. We've been good citizens, paying our taxes, paying good wages, being very careful in what we do. All we ask for is to legitimize what we do, because we're in a gray area, provide licenses and pay taxes and responsible regulation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Eric Hulstrom. I represent the Southern California Coalition. I also am the president of the Cultivators Alliance. We represent a bunch of small businesses in Los Angeles that cultivate. I've been in the medical cannabis industry for 13 years. I remember the dark depths of the Bush administration where a lot of my friends were going to prison for this. And we all who have been working, especially in the activist side, can't be forgotten when it comes to licensing. We do recognize that there were the 134 shops that have been here, and giving them priority for dispensing is something that we don't really have a problem with. But when it comes to the other licenses and the other aspects and increasing it, we all know there's an equity stake that needs to be addressed, and the other sides of the business that have helped create this industry need to be fairly regulated. And we all need opportunities to have licenses, and we can't afford to wait any longer. We all need to get licenses together, and this needs to happen soon to create the city that we want and to create a great industry.
Thank you. Hey, hey, Eric, you're talking about the dark depths of the Bush administration. You better take your butt and vote on November 8th.
Oh, yes, sir.
You really see some dark depths.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. President?
I'm on top
Mr.
of the
Harris
world.
Dawson, how y'all doing? My name is Donnie Anderson, and I'm here to represent the Southern California Coalition. I'm also the co-founder of the California Minority Alliance. I'm here to represent what the industry should look like. It should look like all of us and not some of us. We've been here fighting for this industry just as long as everyone else, and we feel that it should be opened up, and minorities who's been going to prison behind this cannabis plant should have the opportunity to be in the front of the line. I don't care what line it is. We need to make sure we have opportunity to be there as well. And this is what the industry should look like, not just a 1%. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bert? Hey, good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Good morning to you, Mr. Chair, and Harris Dawson. I've been operating in this industry for, I'd say, about maybe 14, 15 years.
Hey, for the record, you got to state your name.
My name is Virgil Grant. And I've been operating in this industry about 14, 15 years. That ordinance that UCBA puts out doesn't represent me and doesn't represent a majority of us in this industry. And so, with that being said, there definitely needs to be something different than that there. People like myself who've been in the industry from day one have been operating with all the same regulations and the same under the same ordinance as everybody else. So we'd like to see something a little more inclusive for, like my man Donnie said, for us, that represents LA as a whole. Thank you.
No, thank you. So anyway, I found another card for Kat Packard, Zachary Pitts, Ryan Sweeney, Seth Hirsch, and Yami Bolanos. Please come forward. Just who's ever first. You don't have to be polite. Just go to the mic and identify yourself and go.
Hi, my name is Zachary Pitts, and I'm with the Southern California Coalition, and I also represent the Los Angeles Delivery Alliance. Let me be absolutely clear when I say we are all against the UCBA ordinance. We want licensing. We want licensing for all types of marijuana businesses, and we think the city is the best entity to develop fair and encompassing regulation, enforcement, equity, and taxes. The UCBA initiative is exclusionary and bad policy. If the city were to put forward its own initiative with a basic tax framework and returns regulatory power back to the city, we would all support you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please identify yourself and good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. My name is Seth Hirsch, and I'm here on behalf of the Southern California Coalition and also on behalf of Quality Concentrates, a local Los Angeles manufacturer. And I just want to echo what everybody has been saying, and that this is a non-inclusive ordinance, the UCBA ordinance. It leaves out lots of things, like my friend Zach just mentioned. Delivery services were not included. There were not specifications for regulating hydrocarbon solvent extractions, which is something that we need to address immediately. And we are in Los Angeles. What you see here are Los Angeles businesses. We are LA, and we want to help LA as much as we can. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, members
Yes.
of the council. My name is Ryan Sweeney. I'm very honored to be in front of you today as a member of the cannabis community who got started as a 19-year-old receptionist in a dispensary working for tips, and now to be in front of you is a huge honor. I'm here with the Southern California Coalition and the Cultivators Alliance, and as we've all been saying, I just would like to echo that the UCBA is an inclusive bill, and we would like to be included in that. You know, I've been working in this industry, finding the ways to stay within the legal boundaries and make a career. And 10 years later, you know, I want to keep fighting for that. So I would like to be included and see some inclusive legislation to include all of us here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes.
Good morning.
Good to
My
see
name
you
is
again.
Yamili Bolanos, and I am founder of Pure Life Alternative Wellness Center. I am the president and founder of the Greater Los Angeles Collectives Alliance, the oldest and most respected organization of its kind in Los Angeles. And today we stand in front of you as proud members of the Southern California Coalition. As the GLACA president, I'm here to, as GLACA, we want to support priority licensing for the pre-ICOD compliant dispensaries so that there's no breakage in the access to the patients in Los Angeles. We continue to work with the city as we have in the past so that we can create a good ordinance for our community, the medical marijuana community, and also the community at large. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I remember you.
Good morning. My name is Kat Packer. I am the campaign coordinator for Californians for Responsible Marijuana Reform. This is a campaign sponsored in part by Drug Policy Action, which is the sister organization of the Drug Policy Alliance. The Drug Policy Alliance is a national organization whose mission is to end the drug war. We do this through principles of harm reduction, criminal justice reform, and marijuana prohibition reform. Here specifically, we are here advocating in front of you today to make sure that the Los Angeles City Council considers and prioritizes social justice and equity as it moves forward in determining regulations for the city. We know that here in the state of California, blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana, although they are less than 7% of the population. These types of things are the things that Los Angeles City Council must consider as it moves forward into regulation. That being said, organizations that focus on minorities, considering like the California Minority Alliance, the Minority Alliance here, we want to make sure that these folks are prioritized in licensing and that social justice issues are prioritized.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Kat, do you have a resume? You just impressed the hell out of me. Send one to me, please. We're going to have a bidding war going on over here. But please make sure that I get one. All right. I want to bring some, anybody else fill out a card? I didn't call your name. Okay, so that concludes public comment on these items. So now let's begin our conversation. Andrew, who should I have come to the center table? Mateus, or why don't we walk through what is actually before us? I mean, you know, we have 2 items today. One is, you know, we have the citizens initiative, approving the citizens initiative for the March ballot. I don't think we have a lot of flexibility where it relates to that, even though we feel that there are areas that were left unaddressed. So we also have a council-sponsored proposal as well. So why don't we kind of walk through what we've got before us, and we'll take it from there. Andrew?
Marfan from the Chief Legislative Analyst's Office. And recommendations from the committee. There's 4 recommendations. I'll read them into the record.
Thank you.
Recommendation 1 is request the city attorney, with the assistance of the chief legislative analyst, the city administrative officer, Office of Finance, and the chair of Rules, Elections, Intergovernmental Relations, and Neighborhoods Committee, to prepare the necessary election ordinance and resolutions to place a ballot measure before the voters at the March 7, 2017 primary nominating election entitled the Cannabis Enforcement, Taxation, and Regulation Act, etc. for short, and that the ballot measure would include the following elements, and there's an A through K. First two deal with enforcement. Letter A reads, provide for maximum criminal and civil fines, for example, $20,000 per violation, and for the disconnection of DWP-related utilities for any unlicensed cannabis dispensary after July 31st, 2018, or when Proposition D is repealed, whichever is later, and any other unlicensed cannabis-related business after December 31st, 2018. Letter B under enforcement reads, provide for maximum criminal and civil fines, example $20,000 per violation, for a property owner who leases property to any unlicensed cannabis dispensary after July 31st, 2018, or when Proposition D is repealed, whichever is later, and any other unlicensed cannabis-related business after December 31st, 2018. Letters C through H deal with taxation. Letter C reads, provide that the Office of Finance and or such other designated agency will administer all tax registration, collection, and auditing of cannabis-related businesses, including full cost recovery and or the collection of any regulatory fees on cannabis-related businesses. Letter D, require the Office of Finance to provide revenue reports to council, mayor, CAO, and the controller on a quarterly basis, including by each tax category beginning April 1st, 2018. Letter E, implement the following tax rates beginning January 1st, 2018. A 5% gross receipts tax on medical cannabis sales, a 10% gross receipts tax on recreational cannabis sales, a 1% gross receipts tax on cannabis distribution, transportation, testing, or other research businesses, and a 2% gross receipts tax on cannabis manufacturing, processing, or cultivation businesses, including any cannabis-related businesses not delineated above. Letter F, require the Office of Finance to not renew business tax registration certificates for cannabis-related businesses when Proposition D is repealed, and issue new business tax registration certificates for licensed cannabis-related businesses only. Further, require BTRC renewal annually to ensure only licensed cannabis-related businesses have an active business tax registration certificates. G, require the Office of Finance to provide and implement a process whereby cannabis-related business tax could be remitted in cash by appointment in a secure facility by January 1st, 2018. Letter H, require that all cannabis-related business taxes be paid to the City of Los Angeles on a quarterly basis beginning July 1st, 2018, and on a monthly basis beginning July 1st, 2019. Letters I through J deal with regulation. Letter I, repeal Proposition D, approved May 2013, repeal it effective January 1st, 2018, unless another date is specified by the City Council by majority vote through resolution. Letter J, return authority to the City of Los Angeles to regulate all aspects of the cannabis industry immediately, including authorizing the City Council to make any changes to this ordinance. Letter K, specifically state that nothing in this ordinance is interpreted or intended to be in conflict with state law except as allowed for by a charter city, and authorize the City Council to change any provision necessary to conform with state law. Recommendation number 2 is authorize the City Attorney, with the assistance of the Chair of the Rules, Elections, and Intergovernmental Relations and Neighborhoods Committee, REIRN, to make any technical modifications and or legal corrections to the draft election ordinance, draft ballot resolutions, and any other related actions listed above in order to further the objectives as described in these recommendations. Recommendation 3, request the City Attorney to transmit the necessary reports, draft ordinance, and draft ballot resolutions as outlined above to the City Clerk's office no later than 2 p.m. on Friday, November 4th, 2016. And recommendation 4, instruct the city clerk to keep council file number 14-0366-S5 active and all reports on file pending for potential future action by the REIRN committee.
Okay, Mateus, thank you very much. Also, you should have a copy of a letter that was sent to this committee, myself in particular, by Councilmember Bob Blumenfield. I'd like to make sure that we incorporate into our recommendation the things highlighted by Mr. Blumenfield. So can we do that as well?
Yes.
Hurry, can we do that as well?
Yes.
So, members, you know, under normal circumstances, I think that we would have wanted to have several more meetings, and as a committee, recommended to our colleagues on the council that we place something on the May ballot. But because of some of the concerns that I have personally where it relates to the initiative that we have to place on the March ballot, I felt that it's incumbent upon us to get in the game now and to at least, you know, stake out an area for ourselves so that we as the council, we as the government of the city have some control, okay, or more control. So that's one of the reasons why we have decided to make our own recommendation. So any questions that you might have at this point, please feel free to ask them. If not, let me jump in. One of the things I had concerns with, and I did see it as you were going through the recommendation from this committee, is I want to make sure that everything is in line and not in conflict with the state requirements. So can you walk me through that, or Harit, maybe you may want to chime in, because the worst thing that we can do is put in all of this effort and then wind up with legal questions or concerns.
Yes, Heather Aubrey from our office can speak to those issues.
Good to see you again.
Thank you, Council President. Good to see you. Heather Aubrey, Deputy City Attorney. With respect to alignment with state law, the key thing is that state law, as it currently exists, does allow for local regulation and provides wide latitude in that respect. So there does not appear to be any concern in that regard.
Okay, well that was critical, and I wanted to make sure that our colleagues, or my colleagues, their comfort level was elevated where related to that. Any other questions from the panel or the committee? Okay. Well, let me just say, Harit, did you want to say something? I saw you grab the mic.
I just want to make sure that it's clear here that there are two items before you. One item is the initiative that's qualified for the March ballot, and the council's options are really limited. It has to place that on the ballot.
Yeah, let me just stop you for 1 second. There's no way that we could take that and put it on May's ballot. We don't have the option to do that. Because if we could do that, then I think it would take some of the pressure off of us here.
You're correct. There is, the charter's clear that the initiative, since it's qualified by the state, has to be placed on the next city ballot, and that is the March 2017 ballot, so it could not be delayed until May 2017. So
Okay.
it's from the charter.
And so, and then the other item,
And
because
the
I
other
cut you off.
item is the recommendation that was just read by the CLA's office for an alternative ballot measure that would also, if approved by council, be placed on the March ballot as well.
And when do we have to act on this as a council?
So for the initiative, the deadline for the council to act to place it on the ballot is November 1st. For a council-sponsored ballot measure for March, the deadline is soon after. It's November 9th.
Okay. Well, I would hope to, it would be my desire to do them both at the same time. So that's what we would shoot for. So if there are no other questions, then I guess then without objection, we'll adopt the city attorney's report draft ordinance and draft resolutions on item 1. On item 2, we will adopt the submitted recommendation as amended by the Councilmember Blumenfield letter. Anything else on the ballot, Mr. Clerk? And are those instructions crystal clear?
Pardon me, sir. No other items on the desk. However, on item number 2, is it the intention of the committee to adopt the recommendations and the recommendations in Councilmember Blumenfeld's letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we want his recommendations incorporated into the committees. So then, without objection, that'll be the order. Again, thank everybody for coming down. I want to thank the city staff for all of the work that they've done on such a short period of time. And if you guys would like, you could leave 3 extra large We Are LA t-shirts. Mr. Weezer wants a double X.